So I love to walk in my neighborhood. I love Lake Oswego. It's just a little bit of heaven on earth right here. And I love to walk right after the dinner hour. So it's maybe 7 or 7:30, you know. Everyone was out last night, and I'm walking along, and I usually use that time as a spiritual practice. So while sometimes I'm tempted to listen to music or a podcast, I consciously decide not to do that. And last night I decided to implement my gratitude spiritual practice that I do as a moving meditation. I've talked about that here before. And as I am starting my walk, you know, I first kind of tune into what I see around me and the, you know, gazillion different hues of green and the trees that move my soul so deeply. And I'm silently saying to myself on the walk that I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for the divine in all of this that I see. And as I turn a corner, I began to come close to a house that I love, because on the other side of their hedge on my walk, they have the most exquisite sounding water feature. It sounds like a real, like babbling brook, you know what I'm talking about? And it just makes my heart happy. And so I just give a silent thank you for that. And I continue to go along my path, and there's a house that has its front door open, and through the screen door, someone is playing ukulele in the living room. It just gives me so much delight, and I say just a prayer of gratitude, affirming gratitude for that. And then in the very next instant, maybe a block or two over, I hear a racing car blaring loud music. And I realize, oh, it's an opportunity to be thankful for their enthusiasm. So on I go on my walk, and I continue down the street, and I see this amazing purple hydrangea, and that always reminds me of my mom. And so I give thanks for her. And then, not to be outdone, right next to that is this house that has a fence that is filled with blooming jasmine, which brings me back to my childhood and the home of my childhood, and it reminds me of my dad. He always loved jasmine and gardenia kind of smells, and I give thanks for him. And I continue on, and I hear in the distance an air conditioner, and it brings me to an opportunity to pray for those in our country right now. It's so scorching hot, to pray for those who do not have that, who are having a hard time. And so I incorporate that in my practice. And I just, you know, I keep going, and I'm just giving thanks for all that is around me. And as I'm in this meditative practice, I think to myself, what the heck? And, you know, I start talking to God, Spirit, Source, whatever word works for you, love. And so I'm just talking to Spirit within me, and I'm kind of saying, all right, Spirit. So I'm talking in the morning about inspiration. Is there anything more that I should know about inspiration? And then, you know, par for the course, the way my brain works, I'm like, actually, God, just, you know, let's skip to just, what is inspiration anyway, really? Like, what is the deal, really? There's so many theories. What is it really? And what bubbles up from within me, from that still, small place, is this message. It's not like a disembodied voice or anything weird like that. It's my truth, right? What is answered within me are 2 words. Look around. My immediate thought is, really? I'm totally looking around right now. I'm on a walk looking around. And then I start to giggle because I realize, oh, the root word of inspiration comes from the Latin inspirare, meaning to breathe into. Oh, inspiration takes it deeper. When you are consciously engaging in the spiritual practice of igniting inspiration, it is a divine communication that is ongoing, and it is meant to be deeply felt. So there's a difference between practicing gratitude for something, which is very important. It's a game changer. It's a really good thing. But there's a difference between practicing gratitude for something and going deeper into receiving the inspiration from that communication of the divine. Do you get what I'm saying? It's a layer deeper. It's a layer deeper. And what I came to realize just last night is that this practice of going deeper, of taking gratitude even deeper and allowing that which you are grateful for to inspire you, to actually inspire you on a deep, deep level, that is connecting with God in a way that is deeper and that carries us to a deeper place, to a much deeper place. You know, all of the fauna and the flora and the people that I was expressing my gratitude for, everything that I saw was so extraordinarily beautiful. And even that racing car that was a kerfuffly moment in my beautiful stroll supported me, gave me the inspiration to see it a different way. Hearing the children's laughter on the walks and the ukulele, the loud music, the smells, all of it. Spirit reminded me to be present to that, to the divinity that is always around us and that is continuously looking for openings to inspire us. Last week, Sarah, in her beautiful talk, she said, "I am one with all that I see and experience. I am one with that ineffable presence of Spirit. And there is a part of me that is always connected to that limitless potential. And in this, I have the power to affect change in my life." My talk today is called Set Your Inspiration Free. And the spiritual principle that we are unpacking together that is associated with this idea of inspiration is actually connection, divine connection, or the interconnectedness we all have with the beauty of the divine. To be inspired is to be deeply connected with the beauty of God, Spirit, Source, whatever word you choose. And you know, I always laugh, and I don't know why, but I always laugh at how God works in our lives, the divine timing of all of it. Because let me just tell you, I'm a 365 gal, so this is the Year of Daily Wisdom from Ernest Holmes. I love to read it in the morning. It's one of those daily, it's got the dates on it throughout the year. You can see mine is coffee stains, it's well worn. I just love it. And today, July 9th this morning, the name of the reading today is I Witness Everywhere the Beauty of God. Isn't God funny? Okay, fine. So I'm just going to read you a little bit. In it, Ernest writes, "Recognizing beauty in everything and knowing that God is the very essence of this beauty, I include myself, my personality, my individuality, my whole being in this beauty. I am some part of an infinite harmony, a terrific loveliness, a universal flow of warmth and color and givingness. I claim all this as my own, not because of any particular merits I personally possess, but rather because of the necessity of its being true." He continues, "I shall no longer think of myself as separate from this beauty or different from it. Divine beauty is everywhere. Today, I see the beauty in others, the presence of the living Spirit." So, it is the presence of the living Spirit in everything that serves as divine inspiration if we decide to allow it to. We're always at choice, right? We're always at choice. I could have gotten annoyed by the loud car driving by, and I guarantee you, many times in the past I have. Let's be really, clear. And we're always at choice. When I was younger, I thought that inspiration only came in big moments. You know those moments? Those moments when you see an incredible piece of art or music or theater, or when you are walking and you see a beautiful vista or an ocean, or the moment when you fall in love, or when a baby is born, or when there's a new scientific discovery that will genuinely support and help humanity. I used to, in my younger years, I used to lose patience sometimes when those big inspirational moments weren't happening in my life. Anyone? I was like, hello, I'm here. I'm waiting. It felt like those moments didn't seem to be happening in my own life enough. And I would get very impatient. What I didn't know then was that those big inspirational moments are the sum total of many, many tiny, sometimes very subtle moments of daily divine inspiration. Those big moments are the final product of many, many tiny, tiny little inspirations curated, collected, and formed within us over time. And it is precisely these little inspirational moments that, if we are paying attention and let them in, over time, they become our big aha, eureka moments. Inspiration is built over time, divine time. Elizabeth Gilbert wrote, "Inspiration is trying to send me messages in every form it can, through dreams, through portents, through clues, through coincidences, through déjà vu, through kismet, through surprising waves of attraction and reaction, through the chills that run up my arms, through stubborn ideas that keep me awake all night long." I know those ones. One could then think of inspiration itself as spirit in action. Inspiration happens moment by moment by moment, but in our modern society, this isn't something that we're taught, is it? We're not taught to pay attention to the little things, you know? Inspiration is a catalyst for growth and change over time. I promise you, if you had told me in 1993 that in 2023 I would be a senior minister at the New Thought Center for Spiritual Living, a church in Oregon, I would have laughed my way out of the room, into the car, and onto whatever set or stage I was working at the time. I literally would not, it would have been like the funniest joke to me. But the thing is that during that whole time, when I was so focused on my career as an actor, so interesting, these spiritual books seemed to magically show up in my path. I'd go to the bookstore, and there'd be something on the bookshelf that just seemed to draw me in the spiritual section. Anybody? I would have conversations with seeming strangers about God, about spirit, about religion, about healing religious trauma, about what it would be like to actually, I don't know, meditate. All of these little moments were accruing over time. I remember a time when I thought, I have plenty of siblings and a gazillion cousins. I don't think I'll have any children. I don't think I need that. I have so many kids around me all the time, and, my career and yada, yada, yada. And then as time went on, and my husband and I, we'd be out and about, and I'd see a parent or a guardian with a little one, and I would get this tug, in my heart. Fast forward. We didn't have one, we had four. 4. So it goes on like that. I remember a time that social justice and activism work felt like for other people to do. That it wasn't that particular thing was not for me to do. And over time, these little moments would show up for me and they would tug at my heart, and I would keep getting more and more drawn into the importance of the idea of human dignity for all people, until the universe literally over time gave me the job of being a community organizer to support the most vulnerable among us. I remember a time when I thought traveling was really just not my thing. I wasn't into it. Obviously, I was quite busy with all of the little ones running around. It seemed like quite a hassle to get them all on planes and go places and all of that. But as it would happen over time, I would see pictures. There would be moments. I would hear conversations of people who had traveled to the thin places, the sacred spiritual places on our planet. And I started to, over time, become more and more inspired. And then as life would have it in divine time, I was given opportunities to be able to travel internationally to some of those places. And now it's one of the most inspiring things for me to do. But it happens over time. The great artist Vincent van Gogh, or depending on where you live in the world, Vincent van de Gogh, said, "Great things are done by a series of small things brought together." Great things are done by a series of small things brought together. The universe is continuously bringing us the small things so that we can take bite-sized pieces and over time grow into the calling of our soul. Can you see that? And it's happening continuously. So since today we are talking about this idea of setting your inspiration free, my question to you is, what little inspirations are tugging at your heart right now? Just breathe into that for a moment. What divine little moments are you noticing out in the world that are calling you forward into something? Another way of asking yourself this is, what is it that when you see it, you experience it or feel it, it wakes you up a little bit. It rouses your curiosity. It makes your edges soften. Perhaps it makes you feel lighter or happier or fired up to participate in change. What is that for you right now? Because, my loves, whatever that is, know that that is Spirit, God, source energy communicating to you in whatever means necessary to get your attention. That is what your soul is calling for you to have a greater experience of. Now, what happens when that relationship, that job, that creative venture, that idea that felt really inspirational did not turn out as you had planned? What about then? Here is my take on that. And please hear me. Any type of abuse or trauma is not included in this conversation. That's another talk. In this moment, I'm speaking specifically about when we are disappointed that something that we thought was ours to do does not work out or didn't work out. You know, things you may have tried in your life that didn't come to fruition in the way that you thought they would. The thing is if you reflect upon that particular relationship, job, situation, creative venture, idea, and I invite you to take a breath. As you reflect on that, and if you're on the other side of it, please note it helps, or if you're on the way to the other side of it, I invite you to just consider the awareness, the blessings, the things in that experience that grew you. So really, in its own way, if you choose to look at that experience through this particular lens, then that too was a gift of inspiration to get you to where you are today. So do not second guess yourself. If that still small voice within you calls you forward into something, I invite you to listen to it. Hold it lightly, but I invite you to listen to it, because whatever it is for you, as long as it's that still small voice. And sometimes it requires time to get quiet and hear it. But it is always for you. There is a saying in the Jewish tradition, it was coined by Rabbi Nachum in the 1st century of the Common Era. It is, Gam Zulatova, Gam Zulatova, which means this too is for the good. This too is for the good. So even when we have had inspirational, creative ventures that have not turned out the way we thought they would, and you may be moving through that right now, maybe, you can hold to Gam Zulatova. This too is for the good. This is ancient wisdom, and it's a powerful mantra to help bridge you, to help be the bridge, to support you in your continued inspiration, your continued life that is meant to be, this divine path that we all walk. When we begin to deeply understand that our life, our entire life is meant to be this ongoing conversation with Spirit, an ongoing conversation with the divine that, by the way, happens through each other, and around each other. These moments, when I reflect back in my 20s and 30s, these moments that would catch my breath, and then I would ignore it. I think Spirit was like, okay, we'll just find another way to get you to Oregon. Right? These moments that happen in this benevolent, loving universe, these moments that slow us down, that make us lean in, these moments that we think, oh, I could never do that, but I really want to. I want to learn that thing. I want to grow in that area, but maybe later. The universe says, okay, all right, we'll find another way to get in. When we deeply recognize that we are meant to breathe into the interconnectedness of life for all of Spirit, including those moments that too are for the good, the greater good of our soul's evolution in this incarnation, we are living into the deepest place of the divine. And then we discover that all in time builds on itself and creates this big aha eureka moment. So my loves, as you lean into this idea of setting your inspiration free, I invite you to be gentle with yourselves, to recognize that it is always happening on time, and in divine time. And so this week, I invite you to just remember to look around and breathe into the inspiration in the small things, recognizing that in those small things, Spirit itself is communicating with you. It's not just happening out there. It's an ongoing communicative relationship. Second, I invite you to really lean into the understanding that inspiration is a catalyst for growth and change, despite what it looks like, and it happens over time. So again, give yourself the gift of patience. And finally, if you are experiencing disappointment over something, maybe something that, is not going as planned, I invite you to remember the ancient wisdom of Rabbi Nachum, Gam Zulatova. This too is for your greatest good. Because the highest truth is that this loving universe that always is on your side and always has your back, is always working for you, is always providing inspirational moments for you to grow from and through, so that you move into your greater becoming. So this week, be an inspiration to each other.